The following is a class on the Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 13, text number 25, given by His Grace Sriman Sankarsana Prabhu, recorded on March 22nd, 2009, in Vrindavan, India.
So tonight we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, chapter number 13, text number 25. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dhyānenātmani paśyanti kecid ātmānam anye sāṅkhyena yogena karma-yogena cāpare dhyānenātmani paśyanti kecid ātmānā anye sāṅkhyena yogena karma-yogena cāpare. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Some perceive the Supersoul within themselves through meditation, others through the cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires. Purport. The Lord informs Arjuna that the conditioned souls can be divided into two classes as far as man's search for self-realization is concerned. Those who are atheists, agnostics, and skeptics are beyond the sense of spiritual understanding. But there are others who are faithful in their understanding of spiritual life, and they are called introspective devotees, philosophers, and workers who have renounced fruitive results. Those who always try to establish the doctrine of monism are also counted among the atheists and agnostics. In other words, only the devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are best situated in spiritual understanding, because they understand that beyond this material nature are the spiritual world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is expanded as the Paramatma, the Supersoul in everyone, the all-pervading Godhead. And of course, there are those who try to understand the Supreme Absolute Truth by cultivation of knowledge, and they can be counted in the class of the faithful. These Sankhya philosophers analyze this material world into 24 elements, and they place the individual soul as the 25th item. When they are able to understand the nature of the individual soul to be transcendental to the material elements, they are able to understand also that above the individual soul there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the 26th element. And thus gradually they also come to the standard of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Those who work without fruitive results are also perfect in their attitude. They are given a chance to advance to the platform of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Here it is stated that there are some people who are pure in consciousness and who try to find out the Supersoul by meditation. And when they discover the Supersoul within themselves, they become transcendently situated. Similarly, there are others who also try to understand the Supreme Soul by cultivation of knowledge, and there are others who cultivate the Hatha Yoga system and try to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by childish activities. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Bharakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupa Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajiva Sadaita Savaduta Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha So, sometimes we hear that we should be tolerant of other religions. Isn't it? After all, we're supposed to be more tolerant than a tree. So, is that our position? We are tolerant of other religions. Is that our philosophy? Or not? Well, to say, should we be tolerant of other religions, that is called a loaded question. The question assumes that there are many religions. If I buy into the question as a legitimate question, then I'm accepting that there are many religions. But is it a fact that there are many religions? We may think there are many religions. How many religions has God given us? Eka dharma. Surrender to me. So where does this idea of religions come from? It comes from the concocted ideas of men. We have concocted this idea. Hindu religion, Christian religion, Jewish religion, this religion, that religion. Shama eva hi kevalam. Any pathway you accept, if it doesn't bring you to the point of pure love of God, even if you're practicing Krishna consciousness in such a way that you're not coming to the point of pure love of God, even your Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. It means you're not doing it right. Any pathway that you follow, if you're not coming to the point of pure, selfless, loving surrender at the lotus feet of that Supreme Person who is the source of all existence, then you've got it wrong. You're doing it wrong. The actual religion. What does religion mean? It's a word coming from Latin language. It comes from the word religio, which means re-link. To re-link with the Supreme Person. That person who's the source of all existence. When you're actually re-linking with Him, then you're practicing religion. Just wearing tilak on the nose and kantimala on the neck doesn't mean that you're relinking necessarily. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written a very nice bhajan in this connection. Here comes another, just see, here comes another disciple of Kali. He has tilak on the nose and kantimala on the neck, and he's keeping so many women for illicit sex. So, actual religion means when you're truly reconnecting, relinking with that Supreme Person. We are not sectarianists that you have to call him Krishna. Lord Chaitanya says there are thousands and millions of names for that Supreme Person. We can even accept these names, these mlacha names, as having some degree of legitimacy. Allah, Jehovah. Names the mlachas use. We can even give that some... Our acharyas have given that some credence, some respect. So, any name designated in Scripture for that Supreme Person who is the source of all existence, that can be accepted. We don't say you have to chant Hare Krishna. If you think it is some Hindu name, then go to your own church and sing the praises of God in your own church. That is all right. But give up sense gratification. That's the point. Don't approach God for your sense gratification. Give me this, give me that, give me, give me, give me. That is not religion. That is business. That my dear Lord, I will flatter you if you will give me this and that and this and that. And if you don't give it to me, I will teach you a good lesson. I will become atheist. That is not religion. Religion means, my dear Lord, you can do anything you want with me. You can leave me broken-hearted by not being present before me. You can even rough me up. And you're in bed. Or whatever. Whatever you want to do with me. That is love. Pure selfless giving of oneself to that Supreme Person is the source of all existence. So then someone would say, well then your philosophy sounds very nice, but then why do you chant Hare Krishna? Why don't you do something that would be more acceptable to the public? It's like my godbrother, when they were forming the society, he said, Swamiji, I think we should call it the International Society for God Consciousness because it will be more acceptable to the public. You see, why don't we just do that? Be easier to blend in. Wear normal, what they consider normal. Actually, we're wearing the normal clothes. They're wearing the funny clothes. Why don't we just blend in, and say God, lovers of God. Prabhupada said, because I want them to know what is God's name. I want to know who God is. Just to say God, you see. Just like if someone comes from America and he says, I'm very knowledgeable in American culture. And I say, well, who's the president? So the president, you see, the president is the president. Well, what's his name? Oh, I don't know. There's the president. How knowledgeable he is in American culture. If he doesn't know the name of the American president, he just says, he's the president. So to say, yes, there is God. But I don't know who he is. How knowledgeable I am in the culture of God. You see? Culture of the spiritual world. Someone says, I'm really close friends with the president. I'm one of his inside men. I'm really in. What's his name? I don't know. Wait. If you're really an insider, then you have to know his name. I mean, obviously. you would know his name. If you're you don't even have to be an insider to know the name, but if you're an insider, you certainly would know his name. So if they don't know the name of God, it's nice they believe in God, but they're not very close to God. You see? They don't even know his name. So our Krishna consciousness movement is not for converting people from this religion to that religion, because there are not a plurality of religions. Our movement is simply to bring everyone closer to God. That's all. The Supreme Person, Krishna. That's our mission. We want that everyone can come closer to God. Why? Because that's how you become happy. We are meant to be close with God. We are not meant to be far away from God. We are meant to be very close to God. Just like the fish is meant to be in the ocean water. We are meant to be swimming in the ocean of God's love, Krishna Prem, at every minute. That is our habitat, our natural habitat. And if we are not swimming in the ocean of love of God at every minute, that means that the waves of Maya have washed us up on the beach of material existence. And we are dying in that condition. So the spiritual master is very merciful. He sees this poor fish lying there flapping in agony on the beach. He picks up that fish and he tosses him back in the water. You see, that is Guru's mercy. We were all fish dying on the sands of material existence, flapping in agony. And spiritual master came, he picked us up and tossed us back in the ocean. So we can breathe again. Guru Kripa, the mercy of Guru. Can the fish flap his way back into the water? Sometimes they may, but generally what happens is that when the tide was very high, the fish was dumped way up on the sand and the tide went out again, and there's no way he can flap his way all the way back to the water because the tide has gone far away again. And by the time it comes in again, he'll be dead. You see? He won't be able to flap his way back into the water. It's not possible. He requires that mercy of that kind soul who throws him back into the ocean. Otherwise, he's finished. So how much we are indebted to our spiritual master. How much we are indebted to our Guru Maharaj for saving us from this material existence. We cannot begin to calculate how much we are indebted to our spiritual master for saving us from this horrible nightmare of material existence. We can't even begin to comprehend the great debt we owe to him for this kindness. It is inconceivable debt. So what you can do, you just try to pay back as best you can. If you owe somebody $1 trillion, how will you pay it back? You do your best, that's all. You give everything you've got. And the spiritual master is very kind. He will accept. The spiritual master is bestowing unlimited bliss on his sincere disciple. Unlimited bliss he is bestowing, you see. So, if your Guru Maharaj is giving you unlimited bliss, then what you can do? Jai Maharaj. Thank you for your darshan. I am blessed today by seeing your form. Hare Krishna. So, when the spiritual master is bestowing unlimited bliss upon you, what you can do? All you can try to do is try to give him unlimited bliss by your sincere service. He is giving me unlimited bliss. Now let me try to give him unlimited bliss by his mercy. Let me try to give him unlimited happiness. There's no way there's nothing displeasing about me. That there is no thought going through my brain. That there is no word coming from my mouth and no action performed with my body which is displeasing to my spiritual master. Let me try to become perfect by his mercy, so that in every way I am pleasing him, 24/7, in all times, all places, and all circumstances. Let me always try to please my spiritual master. You see? Reciprocating that wonderful love he is giving. This is how Prabhupada started this movement, actually. Were there any material facilities to attract us? Now there's so many big temples, and attractive facilities. Were there any big facilities? We didn't own a building in the old days. It was just some little storefront somewhere. Didn't even have a building. There wasn't even one building. The whole society didn't even own one building. There was no facilities. There was nothing. There was only one thing, and that was Prabhupada's mercy. Prabhupada was so kind. Anyone who came in contact with Prabhupada was deeply, deeply, deeply touched by Prabhupada. Because he was just emanating unlimited oceans of love from his heart in all directions, or kind of like you could say like a volcano with unlimited amount of lava flowing in all directions of pure love. You see, anybody who came in contact with Prabhupada, they felt this amazing. They had an amazing experience. I mean, even. You didn't even require to be directly in contact. Just like in that Chaitanya Leela pastime you may all know, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Lord Chaitanya, he was walking down the road in South India chanting japa. And anyone who saw Lord Chaitanya, they immediately achieved Krishna Prem just by his darshan. Instant Krishna Prem just by seeing him. And they gave up everything they were doing and they walked with him down the road. And he would come to one junction in the road and he would say, okay, now you all go that way, you all go that way. And anyone who saw those devotees who had just been transformed by Lord Chaitanya, they also achieved pure Krishna Bhakti by the darshan of that devotee. And they would join with that devotee walking down that road. They would come to another junction, and that devotee would send the other devotees down to other roads. And anybody who saw those other devotees instantly by their darshan, pure Krishna Prem. So in this way, just by walking down the road, Lord Chaitanya inundated all of South India with Krishna Prem. Those who saw him directly, and those who saw those who had seen him, and those who saw those who had seen those who had seen him, and those who saw those who had seen 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 them. That was the potency of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada had the same potency. I remember I was there with His Holiness Vishnu Janaswami in Austin, Texas in 1971. Checking out the Hare Krishna scene. Of course, there was no building, but he would go to different apartments and give a lecture and have kirtan, prasad. He had some books, some magazines. But I remember there was one, I forget the lady's name, but there was a little girl who was part of the group that was kind of following the Swami around town wherever he did the programs. And this little girl, she would say, Prabhupada. Just the way she said it. She had heard about this Prabhupada. She had never seen him. But she had heard about Prabhupada, and she would talk about him as he was the most wonderful person that had ever existed in all of history. And she would say his name with such feeling, this little tiny girl. And just hearing this little girl say Prabhupada, it affected me. And I also became a Prabhupada Nuga, you see. By associating with these Prabhupada Nugas, even a little girl who just calling, she's not initiated, but she just heard about Prabhupada in her childhoodness, and she's saying, Prabhupada. So in this way, you see, the pure devotee, he has great Shakti, he has great potency. He has Gora Shakti. Isn't that the shloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita? Krishna Vina, what is it? Krishna Shakti Vina Nahe Tara Pravartana. Unless one has that Krishna Shakti, you see, he can't spread Krishna consciousness. So Krishna Shakti, Gora Shakti, same thing. Same thing. That Gora Shakti is the more powerful manifestation of Krishna Shakti. So Guru, the actual bona fide spiritual master, he has that Krishna Shakti, he has that Gora Shakti. And anyone who comes in contact, as we came in contact with Prabhupada, the most amazing, amazing potency. Actually, it's interesting in this connection, one time they were walking in Mayapur, and Prabhupada wanted to make big project, big temple in Mayapur, because he knew it would attract people, and it's a fact. Prabhupada is certainly correct. Prabhupada made the point, he said that if it was simply Bhaktivedanta Swami speaking here with no facility, who would want to come? No one would come. But then one of the disciples, they said, Prabhupada, but you were all alone in that Tompkins Square Park. Actually, by the way, Prabhupada was transcendently defeated. Because from the beginning, Prabhupada had no facility. Just by his divine presence, you see, we were carried away, transformed by his divine presence. Of course, these projects they are effective in getting more and more and more people. Our numbers have certainly increased from that little crew at 26 2nd Avenue. So it's very good that we have these big projects. But if we lose the essence of what is actually purifying us, you see, then these buildings, it'll be like when the Gaudiya Math, Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta said, better to sell the marbles and civet books. The essence is when the devotees themselves are purely practicing Krishna consciousness. That is the essence. Each and every devotee must take his responsibility to purely practice Krishna consciousness. Because by his pure practice, he will attract so many sincere souls. So many sincere souls will be attracted. Each and every devotee who is trying to purely practice this science, without any material motives, without taking any time off for sense gratification, pure bhakti, that person will naturally attract so many souls to join this movement. And this way, we can inundate gradually the entire planet, or at least make a good start, so that future generations can finish it off. It's actually a prediction given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You know that verse? Sajjana durjana pangu jadda andagana prema vanyaya duvaila jagatera jana. You know that slow? Yeah. This is by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He is one of the gopis in Krishna's pastimes. He has come down here and taken the form of a Goswami to give this knowledge. He is the perfect knower of past, present, and future. And he has told us that it doesn't matter, Satsjana, whether one is a pious man, you see Satjana, in Sandhi it becomes Satsjana. Whether one is a pious man, or Durjana, a rogue, a dacoit, Gunda type character. Doesn't matter whether you're a pious man, whether you're a Gunda, whatever you may be, Satsjana, Durjana, Pangu, lame, Jada, invalid, Anda, blind, you see, whatever you may be. Satsjana, Durjana, Pangu, Jada, Andagana, Prema Vanyayala, Dubaila, Jagatera Jana. All the living beings throughout this entire universe will be what? They will be drowned in this ocean of Krishna Prema, a gigantic tsunami which will sweep the whole universe. So, there's nothing more exciting than being a Hare Krishna preacher. This is it's like the boys and some women, mostly men, they love, in California and Hawaii we've seen, they love to surf. But the waves don't last very long. We see them sometimes. When I was doing our japa walk in San Diego, we would see them suffering, Prabhupada said. Sea sufferers. They would paddle out there and they'd wait and wait and wait and wait and wait, catch that wave, and then for a few seconds they're on the top of the wave, on the top of the world. Now I am God on this wave, you see. And then boom, they call it wipeout. And they wipe out and they get thrown in the water and the board goes this way and they go that way and they get a whole mouthful of sinuses full of salt water and like that, you see. But in Krishna consciousness, one who takes up this mood of preaching, you see, one who takes up the mood of trying to fulfill this prediction of Krishnadas Kaviraj by his every thought, word, and deed in all times, places, and circumstances, such a person is riding that wave, the crest of that wave of Krishna Prema at every minute. He's riding that crest wave. Back to home, back to Godhead, you see. I always like to say, why study history? Make history. Why watch the news? Be the news. Be in this Sankirtan mood of pushing for this movement. You see? Then what you're doing, every thought in your brain is more newsworthy than anything they throw out on CNN. Every thought in your brain is the most newsworthy thing happening in the universe. So why live a dull, drab life, Sense gratification. Gratifying some senses just get tired and worn out and useless. Those of us who are getting up in the years, we know now, especially once you hit the 60s, things start to go, this thing goes bad. It's like an old car, Time to junk it. Why invest all your energy in a lemon, this material body? They call it a lemon, America. You buy a car that everything is wrong with it. No matter what you do, it's still broken. It's called a lemon. So this material body is a lemon. Why should we put all of our energy in gratifying the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the belly, and the genitals? Why should we put all of our focus on that? Does it make any sense? Isn't that dumb? Isn't that asinine? Isn't that just plain stupid thing to do? As they say in Spanish, stupidísimo. Very, very, very asinine, stupid thing, stupidísimo. So don't be ass, as Bhagavatam says, sa eva gokara. We should not be asses, asinine asses. Or in Russian they say ashiol. We should not be like them. We should become paramahamsa, swan-like men and women. You see. What is the nature of the swan? The amazing nature of the swan. With the swan's beak, he can take a mixture of milk and water. He can extract the milk and leave the water. So, one who is swan-like devotee of the Lord, he can extract Vrindavan wherever he is in this material world. He can extract Krishna wherever he is. And that's stated in the Bhagavatam. What is that verse? Bhakti pareshonu bharo viraktir lanyatra shaishatraka ekakalaha. You see? What are the symptoms of one who is actually transcendently situated? Bhakti, he feels love for Krishna, and two, he experiences Krishna everywhere. That means he is Paramahamsa. He's able to extract Krishna from everything. From every sight, from within every sound, from within every smell, from every taste, from within every single experience that he is having 24/7, he is able to connect with Krishna. That is Paramahamsa. Not simply some title, Paramahamsa. Anybody can call himself Paramahamsa. But unless he can extract Krishna from every single experience, in all times, all places, and all circumstances, he is not Paramahamsa. He is cheater, bluffer, charlatan. So, this art we have to learn. This art we have to receive from our previous acharyas. They are expert in this art of extracting Krishna. So, if we follow in the footsteps of these great acharyas, mahajano yena gata sapanta. If we follow in the footsteps of these great acharyas, then we will be able to extract Krishna at every minute. We can remain happily situated wherever our ashram. If I'm brahmachari, I can be very enlivened brahmachari. If I'm householder, I can be enlivened householder, vanaprastha, sannyasi, whatever ashram I may be in. If I'm able to extract Krishna from every minute's experience that I'm having, then I will always be happy. I won't think, well, I'm a brahmachari, now I have to get married, or now I'm married, I got to become a sannyasi, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. No. This is transcendental be here now consciousness. Wherever you are, connect with Krishna. Wherever you are, whatever your position. Somehow or other connect with Krishna. That is Paramahamsa. So we have about 5 minutes left. I can ask if there's any questions, and I'll probably require somebody to stand here by my ear because this aging body is going deaf. So if anyone has a question, can ask it, and somebody can come here and tell me in my ear what the question was. Somebody who speaks good, I don't know if your English is good enough for me. All right, question? So, all right, question.
Thank you for the class. I have a very simple question that you said that one should seriously try to please Lord Krishna, and if one sincerely tries but he fails, then what is his position?
Okay.
If one sincerely tries to preach Krishna consciousness to others but fails, what is his position?
Yes. Just because you may sometimes fail, that does not mean that there is necessarily some fault with you. It could be your fault, but it may not necessarily be your fault. I mean, there were so many people that Prabhupada preached to that didn't take Krishna consciousness. There were disciples who actually left this movement because they thought Prabhupada was wrong. They became disciples, but they changed their mind. So you can't say that because you failed, that means you were preaching in the wrong way. Although it could be that you were preaching in the wrong way. And you drove them away by improper preaching. So it's always good to not think, if I preach to someone and I fail, and I could just say, yeah, they were nonsense. It's always good to think, what did I do wrong? How could I have done better? Whenever you fail in your preaching, you should always think, maybe it was my fault and what did I do wrong? It's always good to think that way, because that way you'll always improve. How can I do better next time? If I had a chance to have that conversation again with that person, what would I say this time different than the way I did it the first time? In this way, you should always be introspective. Just like a sportsman, like a baseball player, He's always trying to improve his game, a pitcher or a batter. He's always trying to improve his game. He's never satisfied that I'm playing well enough. He always wants to become better and better and better. So a devotee preacher is like that. He always wants to preach better and better and better and better and better. What's the ultimate standard of perfect preaching? That's given by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He says, when the high court judges wear tilak, then we are successful. So we haven't really succeeded yet until all the high court judges on this planet are wearing Vaishnava tilak and they're studying Prabhupada's books, how to make their decisions. Then we know our preaching was really successful. Until then, we got some improvement to do. So it's always good to think that my failing is probably, at least to some extent, at least partially my fault. Don't always blame it on them, or there's the puffed-up karmi. No. Should always think, how can I do it better? Maybe they would have become a devotee, but because I didn't preach properly, they didn't take it. It's always good to be humble like that. That's the safe position. Because 99% of the time it's true, we blew it and we didn't preach as well as we should have. That's almost in every case, that's the reality. Any other questions? Our time is up. Does anybody have a question more? We can squeeze one in. If not, I thank you all very much for so kindly hearing this wonderful philosophy given to us by the Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Raja Vidya Srimad Bhagavad-gītā ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.